We are closely watching the vote in Germany to replace Chancellor Angela Merkel. After an extremely tight national election this weekend, the center-left Social Democrats have won the biggest share of the vote, narrowly beating out Merkel's center-right Union bloc. Now, Social Democrats won 25.7% of the vote, compared to Merkel's Union bloc with 24% of the vote. Vice Chancellor Olaf Scholz is poised to become the next chancellor. NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley is tracking all of this for us and joins us now live from Berlin. Matt, first, break down what these results mean. What happens now and who is in charge?
Well, who's in charge, Morgan? The same woman who's been in charge for the last 16 years, the Queen of Europe herself, Angela Merkel. She's still in office. She's still the chancellor, as she has been for such a long time. And, she's going to remain in charge for the foreseeable future until they can come up with a coalition. These negotiations could last for quite a while. But, it looks as though her party got something of a beating in these elections yesterday. It's the worst showing for Merkel's CDU, the Christian Democrats, ever since the end of World War II. But it's not as bad as all that, really. They were only beaten by the Social Democrats by about 1.6%, by less than 2 percentage points. That's not very much. That does give Olaf Scholz, that name you just mentioned, kind of the prime position. He's in a very good spot to lead negotiations, to form a coalition, and to then possibly become the new chancellor. Now, whether or not he's going to actually succeed in doing that, that depends on so many different factors, Morgan. This is such a complicated process, and it doesn't necessarily mean, based on the SDP's showing, that Olaf Scholz is going to be the next chancellor. It could be somebody else from Angela Merkel's party. It all depends now on those political horse trading, on all that negotiation.
Yeah, and speaking of that horse trading, Matt, this really gives power to those smaller parties now, because they now have to be involved in the mix to really create this coalition government. So what are the implications of this election here in the United States? Do we have a sense of how this might affect America's relationship with Germany?
It's a really good question, Morgan. The short answer is it probably won't. And that's because there are a couple of reasons here. The first one is that both of the front runners, the people who were really running to try to replace Chancellor Merkel, they spent the entire campaign trying to stylize themselves as Merkel's successors, trying to be as Merkel-like as possible. Now, also, they're going to be running in a they're going to be governing within a coalition. So that coalition means that they're going to be drawing from the left, from the right. They're going to have to share power and compromise with so many different political parties sprawling the ideological spectrum. They're not going to really see a whole lot of change. Now, Joe Biden has already had a very good relationship with Angela Merkel, as did his predecessor from before, Barack Obama, who had a very close relationship with Angela Merkel. And with this Angela Merkel light, who's probably going to be taking the chancellorship next, we can expect very little change in transatlantic relations.
All right. NBC's Matt Bradley for us there in Berlin. Matt, as always, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.